Good mythical afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Ayala with another vlog for you. This is Europe and Japan in ruins after World War II, a Mr. Ayala presentation. Please make sure you're writing down your information as we go along, and that you view this as many times as you need to be successful. Do not worry about anything for the doobly-doo, because I'm not giving you one this time. You're welcome. Anyway, this is Mr. Ayala's presentation on Europe and Japan in ruins after World War II. So to start with, we gotta look at our objectives. Approximately how many Europeans died during the war? What were the Nuremberg trials? How was Germany split after the war? And what happened to Japan after the war? So the first thing we want to look at is the devastation in Europe. So at the end of the war, Europe is in ruins. About 40 million are killed, including about 12 million Jews. Most large cities, or any city of that matter, was destroyed. So really not good. Many people were displaced and had nowhere to go and just end up wandering around aimlessly around Europe. Some would end up showing back up over in the US, the Soviet Union, the Middle East, South America, and the misery continued after the war because there's very little food because no one was planting crops, there's no shelters because everything's destroyed, and there's no jobs so no one can increase the economy. So because of those issues, we go to the post-war governments and politics. Some governments end up falling. Some countries no longer existed. New ones popped up. So those governments and those countries had to be replaced. So the first thing that happened is the communist parties around Europe starting to begin to spread, and membership began to skyrocket because of the bad economies. What they did, they used these violent strikes to try to force change. In Western Europe, places like France, Italy, and Great Britain, this failed because as the economy started getting better, less and less people want to become communists. And also the Iron Curtain began to spread across Europe and separated the free world in the West from the communist world in the East. By the way, if you want any more information, there's a great Winston Churchill speech called The Iron Curtain. Great one if you get a few extra moments to Google and look up. Then we get to the Nuremberg Trial, 1945 and 1946. This is where the Nazis were held responsible to the international community for their crimes against humanity, the raging of a war of aggression, and their war crimes. Quite a few Nazis actually never made it because they committed suicide prior to this or in their cells. And most of the Nazis at that time who were actually captured and tried were hung. From there, we get to Germany, was split into 4 zones of occupation, each controlled by an allied power. So you had Britain controlling this area, France this area, Britain this area, the US this area, and the Soviet Union this area. The Western democracies, these 3, will end up combining them and making Western Germany, or West Germany, while the Soviet Union will make theirs into East Germany. And that's really important for post-war Europe and the Cold War. From there to Japan. So Japan is in ruin also because of the 2 nuclear weapons, the firebombs, and all the craziness that occurred, and over 2 million people were killed. Douglas MacArthur will be in control of the occupation forces in Japan. And he had 2 major things he wanted to do. The first was to demilitarize, disband Japan's military forces, and the second was to democratize Japan, or to create a democratic government for the Japanese, which they still have. Thank you for paying attention to my vlog. Review this as many times as you need to, and of course, don't forget to be awesome.